What is going on, everyone? We are here to talk about MEPS. So I want to talk about MEPS Day 1, and then I'll do another video on my experience for MEPS Day 2. I want to make this video so that I could hopefully answer some questions, at least that I had while going through this process, that a lot of you may also have. I know that I looked for a ton of YouTube videos, articles, everything to try and get some answers on what MEPS was going to be like, what I needed to prepare for, and so on. So first of all, thank you for those of you that found this channel. This is my first video, so if you like this content, go ahead and hit the like and the subscribe and comment below on what else you want to see, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so before I get into what happened at MEPS on the first day, I do want to preface this with my recruiter gave me an option. She told me that I could go do the ASVAB Day 1 at MEPS, or I could take the PiCAT. So because I myself get test anxiety, I wanted the ability to go ahead and do the PiCAT at home so that I could be in a nice quiet environment, there was no time limit, and that I would have the best opportunity to score what I needed to for the job that I wanted. So I was scheduled to go to MEPS on a Monday. My recruiter went ahead and sent me the PiCAT link on, it was like maybe the Monday before. I worked through the whole week, and then I decided that I was going to take it at the end of the week so that I could go into Monday at MEPS pretty fresh with everything in my mind and with what I had, with how well I had done during the PiCAT. So I take the test on Thursday when I get home from work. It wasn't timed, but I did take my time doing it. It took me maybe about an hour, hour and a half, and then I got my score the next day from my recruiter. So I did score a 92 AFQT. She didn't send me my line scores. She just told me that I exceeded the line scores that I needed for the job that they were essentially holding for me. So felt pretty good, felt pretty confident. During the PiCAT though, I did write down and I took some pictures of questions that I was unsure of with the answer that I chose before I hit submit, so that if they showed up again during the PiCAT verification that was going to occur on Monday, that I had the opportunity over the weekend to kind of study those. So there was some word knowledge that I had to sort of guess on, and I wasn't exactly sure, so those are the ones that I kind of wrote down. What the question was, what I chose as an answer, and then kind of went back and studied that. So fast forward to Monday. So my recruiter sends me a little document that said show up at MEPS between 11 and I think it was 1:30 to go take my PiCAT verification. So I live maybe 20 minutes from the closest MEPS here in San Antonio. She didn't drive me. I actually am a DoD contractor, so I already have a common access card to be able to access the base, so really easy for my recruiter. So I decided I just want to get it done and over with. I showed up at 11 o'clock. I went into the San Antonio MEPS and went down to my branch office, which go Air Force, and checked in with them. So they send me out to the waiting room while they're printing paperwork and printing my badge. And if you're a Marine out there, or you're going to be a Marine, this will probably make you laugh. So I'm sitting in the waiting room, and it's mixed between the three offices that are in the corner. So it was Marines, Coast Guard, and the Air Force. So there's 5 guys that are sitting, in the chairs along the wall. I'm sitting over in a separate section just waiting. And Marine recruiter, or the Marine MEPS guy, whatever you want to call him, comes into the waiting room and starts yelling, "Who are my recruits?" And I'm thinking, oh my God, don't look at me. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, don't make eye contact. So he's yelling at these guys, and they are terrified. So luckily, I'm not going into the Marines, but that was their first experience, and they looked absolutely terrified. So I get my badge, my name badge, take my paperwork down to the testing, which is up on the 3rd floor, go up there, as they're going through my paperwork and getting me set up for the PiCAT verification, I took the opportunity to ask the guy some questions. So very nice gentleman that was getting me set up. So he let me know that the PiCAT verification, when you go in to do that, there is a 1 in 5 chance that you're going to get stuck doing the full ASVAB. And I thought, this is just my luck. I'm probably going to be the one that gets stuck doing that, and I'm probably just going to bomb it. So there's a 1 in 5 chance that somebody will get automatically rolled into a full ASVAB. The second part of that is that if you start your verification of the PiCAT and you see questions that were from your original PiCAT, you want to make sure that you answer those exactly the same way. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to verify your score, and then it will automatically roll you into what they call kind of a condensed ASVAB. So he said, no matter what you do, make sure that if you see the same question from your PiCAT, that you answer it exactly the same way, because that'll help towards your verification. So 30 questions. I asked him how many questions are going to be pulled from the PiCAT. He said that really it kind of depends. So the test will automatically do that. Sometimes you'll get 4 questions, sometimes you'll get 20 questions, maybe all your questions are going to be from your original PiCAT, but they will pull ones from a similar level. So if you were answering correctly on multiples and you were kind of at a higher level, which is what gets you the higher score, then you're going to see similar questions that are that same level. But you may not see the exact same ones from your PiCAT. So they also pull from your strongest areas. So for me, I scored really, really high. I actually got to see my line scores after my verification, but I scored really high in mechanical and electrical. So I was like a 94 mechanical and like a 93 or a 92 electrical. So during my PiCAT verification, I saw a lot of mechanical and electrical questions and a lot of word knowledge. I actually only got maybe 3 or 4 math questions, which I thought was a little odd because my AFQT score was pretty high, and I was worried that I was barely going to get a 31. So go in and do the you do your PiCAT verification. You will know immediately if you're being rolled into the full ASVAB because it'll show you the 10 sections. So I went straight into the 30 questions. Luckily, I had just taken my PiCAT on that Thursday prior to this, so I recognized a lot of the questions. I think for me that was a big advantage. If I had taken the PiCAT a month ago or maybe longer, then I don't foresee any reason that I would recognize or remember a lot of the questions that came up. So luckily, I remembered what I had answered. I recognized probably about 15 that were from my PiCAT. Maybe it was a little bit less, but I was very diligent in making sure that I answered those correctly. So got done with the 30 questions. It ended. I knew that I had done my verification correctly and had passed. So they ask you to call them to come over once your verification is over. So gentleman comes over and then the next they roll you right into the cyber test. So I had no idea what the cyber test was. Didn't really know what was going to be on it. Honestly, I didn't even ask my score afterwards. It was a lot of questions that I had to guess on. I'm not IT savvy, and a lot of this, if you have a background in IT and you're really good at coding and computer savvy, you'll probably do really well. But anyway, they roll you right into the cyber test, which is timed. And then after that, you take a personality test. So the personality test I thought was a little odd. It specifically says at the beginning that a lot of the times the 2 choices that you get aren't going to be anywhere close to your actual personality or how you really feel. It's going to be like a pretty difficult decision. But some of these, I'm telling you, it was similar to like I would prefer to jump off a cliff face first or walk backwards into traffic and get struck by a vehicle. Okay, they weren't that drastic, but it was similar to that. So there's a lot in there that just really doesn't pertain to, well, they didn't pertain to my personality, and I assume for most of you they probably won't pertain to yours either, but it did say just pick what was best. A lot of them were very repetitive, so I think really the key is pick, the same answers to the same questions because I saw a lot of the same questions come up through this test. I've done psych evaluation tests before for law enforcement, so it kind of reminded me of that, which they always say, you know, pick the same questions, be very accurate through the whole thing. So after that was finished, they want you to report back to your branch office. So I went back to the Air Force office. They looked at my score for me, so I did get my line scores, scored 90s in all my line scores. I needed a 47, I think it was 47, 49 mechanical for the AFSC that I was choosing, so I was good there. And actually it qualified, my scores plus my 92 AFQT that I did validate qualified me for pretty much any job in the Air Force. So if I'd gone active duty, I probably could have chosen something like flight engineer, which is what I had really wanted. But since I'm going Air National Guard, I was really kind of, I don't want to say stuck, but I was limited into what I could choose. So, but that was on me. So that was day one. So the validation, I got really lucky that I didn't have to do the full ASVAB. I was able to validate my score. I did have a lot of questions going into it that I couldn't find the answer on. So I'm hoping that those of you that are prepping to go do your PiCAT validation, or you have the option of doing your PiCAT versus your ASVAB, I hope that this experience kind of helped you. I had no idea what the PiCAT was going to be like. I didn't know if I was going to get the same questions. I didn't know if I was going to get completely different ones. So I had a really difficult time finding that information online, and luckily the gentleman at MEPS was very kind and gave me a lot of information in that regard. But really it's the computer that, you know, kind of pulls your questions, so you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. So, but at least if you know that you scored high in certain areas, expect to see those questions on the PiCAT. So day one at MEPS was over. It was great. I was in and out of there within maybe an hour, hour and a half. And then it was prepping for MEPS day 2. So that will be the next video. I know there's a lot of questions on the medical. I have a lot myself, so the next video I will just go very in-depth into my MEPS experience and where I saw people kind of falter and kind of do's and don'ts of when you go for your medical evaluation. So I hope that this video has helped a lot of you. If anybody wants me to do a video on the study material and how I studied and how I got a 92 AFQT, please let me know. I can do that in a separate video. I did use multiple sources, but I can go more in depth into that. I don't want to make this video too long because I know people will just click off. I know I would. But yeah, just comment below any questions that you may have. I will answer all of them. And if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and comment below. Thanks everyone, and good luck.